What's up, everyone? Welcome back. As you guys can see, there's been a few updates since the last video. We got new wheels, got mirror caps, tints are already done, and then engines popped. We got some goodies over here too. Got a cold air intake from Mad. Damn, hood just fell on me. It's too windy today. We got a cold air intake from Mad, Mastery of Art and Design, as well as their catted downpipe, 200 cell. And that means we are finally stage 2. It's been a long time coming, for real. I've thought of going stage 2 ever since getting the car. The reason why I wanted to get B58, 500 horsepower or 480, whatever, up from 380, so adds 100 horsepower. Not wheel horsepower, just regular horsepower. So I think that ups it by like 50 wheeler, whatever. I'll put up the website description here, and it actually lists out what the off-the-shelf tune puts on your B58. But this is it. This is close to finish. Car's a little bit dirty. We started recording when it was a nice sunny day, and then it started raining. Now it's super windy, so I apologize in advance, but I wanted to talk about what I did to the car so far, and if you guys are inspired by it to do a similar build, by all means go ahead and like copy the exact same thing or put your own twist on it. So first thing, the cosmetics. We got these carbon fiber style mirror caps off of Alibaba. Nothing much to it. I think it's the X3M, X4M style. So nice little touch to it. I was thinking about going with the IND mirror cap so it paint matches to the carbon black, but those are honestly like 100, 200 bucks. And this was 40 bucks. And it's off Amazon, eBay, Alibaba, AliExpress. Shipped straight to your door. It's nice and affordable. I don't really see a reason to spend 200 bucks on mirror caps when I can easily put that money towards something else, like a cold air intake. Next up, we got these black carbon, not carbon, just these black grills off of Amazon as well. These were 50, 60 bucks. Replaces the silver ones, pushes out very easily. We pop out 1, 2, 3 tabs. There's 2 tabs at the bottom. You have to pop the front out and then wiggle it from the back and it comes straight out. Same thing on this side. It slid right in. Very easy to install, 5 minutes. And aesthetically, it really helps bring the whole car together, especially now with the carbon fiber style mirror caps. And the only thing that's left that's silver is the boomerangs, and I'm not sure if I want to wrap that or completely replace it. I would honestly just probably leave it as is, because right now to replace it would be like another 100 or so dollars from IND to get a paint match one or black, and then to wrap it, probably honestly do it myself if I can just buy the wrap and just have fun with it. But maybe I'll just leave it. It doesn't bother me too much. I think the mirror caps were more of a pain in the eye to look at. This, I'm fine with leaving there. And that's it for the cosmetic mods. Now, to go stage 2, you only need a downpipe and a tune, the BMW Special. You can do this across any of their engines and their cars. It's very popular now with the B58, which is the 4-cylinder, and the B58, which is the 6-cylinder that they put in all of their cars. So people with 330s, 340s, 430s, 440s, or any X3, X4 can all go stage 2. B58 adds 100 horsepower, let's say. The B48, the 4-cylinder, doesn't add as much, but it will still give you like 50 to 80 horsepower. And then when you have the S58, which is the X3M, you can add on 250 horsepower. And I'm not sure about 200, but it's a lot easier to get up there with bigger engines. Nevertheless, it's still an upgrade. So what you need for that is a downpipe. Downpipes can be catted or catless. OEM is around 400 cell. So if you don't want any of the smell of a catless downpipe, then you can get one from Active Auto Work. Those downpipes are $1,100, super expensive, but it does come fully regulated with emissions. You don't get a check engine light and you don't get the smell, but it is $800 more than what I paid for this. This Mastery of Art of Design is a new brand. Some people say they're new and they just drop ship out of China. I feel like all companies do that now, and there's people posting about it all over TikTok, so it doesn't really matter to me. They all get it from the same place, but they had the lowest price when I was looking for a Cata downpipe. Even if I bought it used, I think I found one for like $220. I bought a used one for $220, sold it for $280, and then I took that little flip and just bought a new one, because it does come with a lifetime warranty on all their products, and I feel like you need that for when you're investing into your car. Like it's very useful to have a lifetime warranty just in case something breaks. They shipped it out quite fast with the cold air intake as well. The only negative thing I will say is not the quality of the downpipe itself, but the fitment of it. On the entrance, the clamp was fine, but on the exit into the exhaust piping, the hole was too big. It didn't fit into my exhaust pipe. So I had to take a mallet for my friend that has a shop. Shout out GTS Motorsports in Long Island, in Elmont, Franklin Square. He took a mallet and had to hit the downpipe in order to kind of close out that fitment because it was too wide. So that was the only thing that we faced that was bad from Matt. The other issue I ran into is that clamp right there that attaches to the turbo. The welding on the original clamp, that top bolt is supposed to be welded on so you can take it off from the bottom. However, the weld fell off, so that bolt right there just kept spinning when we tried to take it off. So we actually had to cut it and buy a new one from BMW. On FCP Euro it was like 40 bucks, but BMW, you know, they charge an arm and a leg. They charged me 80 bucks for that. So that was ridiculous. And the last thing I want to say is the other Cata downpipe I was looking at was from VSRF. There's a bunch of companies out there that sell Cata downpipes, but they were like $50 to $100 more than MAD. So I was like, I'd rather just get the MAD. It's the same material. You can look it up, but they use the same type of aluminum. So there's really no difference, and the performance is the same as long as you get the package, you know, you inspect it yourself, make sure everything's good, and it's good to install. The next thing I want to move on to is this cold air intake. I chose blue to match the brakes, and this was also a relatively easy install. You can see the piping lines up fine. The only thing you guys may think is, what are these hooks for? And it's for the top cover. The only thing is, with this angle and where we had to put it in, we actually had to zip tie it down because the fitment is not 100%. I will admit that. The downpipe was definitely easier to install and the quality looked a little bit better, but for the cold air intake, it definitely looked like somebody, you know, was messing around in the factory. They dropped it. The shield actually had a dent at the bottom of it. You couldn't see it from the top, but I just didn't want to install it at that point. Also, you could see the cone, it's kind of sticking up a little bit. If I were to put the shield on, it would be pushing the cone down, and with the angle of how everything's installed, it wouldn't fit as well. So there's a little bit more issues here with quality control from MAD. I reached out to them and they gave me a 15% refund, which is fine because I didn't plan on installing the shield anyway. So I was happy with that, and I'm glad we came to an agreement there. That's the few issues that you'll run into when you're trying to buy from a new company. All right. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the wheels. I'm on HRE FF21s. We're on 20x10s plus 25. 275, 40, 20 squared all around. And we're also on 10mm spacers. So the reason we're on spacers is because I believe, you can see the front, how tight it is to a full turning radius, and it's because the front needs a plus 35 offset in order to fit. So the wheels being plus 25, I have to buy a 10mm spacer to push it out a little bit more so it wouldn't rub on anything. Also on Continental DWS 06s, if you guys are curious, I was shopping between these and the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's or PS4s or whatever it is now, PS4, PS4S. But the Continentals were a better deal, and their ratings were more or less the same for everything except for like stopping in the rain. I think the Michelins were a little bit better, but if you're driving carefully in the rain, I'd rather save the 50 bucks. With the wheel spacers, we were able to make it fit with that plus 35 offset. The rear is also on a 10mm spacer. It's not needed. I actually ran it without the spacer for a little bit. However, you could see the wheel fits right under. Without the 10mm spacer, just imagine it 10mm more inwards. But with the 10mm spacer on the front side, the fronts were sticking out a little bit more than the rear. So it definitely looked a little bit weird from the back, so I decided to put it on anyway. And from the rear angle, gives it that wider, more aggressive setup that I really like. So with the HREs, a lot of people said factories and suppliers weren't too good, and there was some fitment, quality control issues all around. Now, the wheels are really solid. A lot of people run these wheels. TJ Hunt ran it on his new Mustang, his SEMA build that got banned. Adro is running it on their M2 build. So a lot of people are using these wheels, which I love to see it, because I actually picked out the wheels before they decided to put them on their cars, and it looks great. The only thing I will say is that from afar, the 20-inch actually looks a little bit small. 21s would have looked a little bit better, but I'm alright with the 20s. I actually got a deal on Facebook Marketplace for these for like $2,200, and right now they're on sale on Fitment Industries for like $3,000 plus for all four. So I think I got a steal. I got a great deal. I was looking at these wheels as well as the BBS CIRs. The difference is with the HREs, the spokes go straight up, versus the BBSs, they're a little bit more inwards. And I'll put up pictures right here so that you guys can see as well. And the final thing we had to do on the wheel spacers was put on new lug nuts, extended lug bolts or lug nuts, whatever they're called, as well as a new wheel lock. And I got a conical lock off of ECS Tuning. It fit all around perfectly. Those are fine. Let's do one more quick walk around. The sun is out, and from this angle you can't see all the dirt on the car, so that's great for me as well. Definitely a lot happier to drive it and get in this and drive it every day. You know, coming from Honda Accord, now stage 2 BMW, that B58, it's a lot more enjoyable to just get in. The low RPMs, the throttle control is a lot more enhanced now that I'm stage 2. So it's a lot more sensitive as well. Going in sport, I don't have to press the button to go in sport. Pushing the gear selector to the side and putting it sport is comparable to being stock and pushing the sport button. So you could imagine when you're stage 2 and you actually push the sport button, the feelings are a lot more enhanced. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, there's a few people online that asked, what does the car sound like? So all my exhaust is still stock. I didn't do anything except for the downpipe. But because of the high flow, the exhaust is actually quite a bit louder, even on a cold start. I would say if you're into that, that's great. If you got kids, maybe your wife doesn't like it, when you tune the car, you can check a box for cold start reduction, and it'll take that all away. But when it's, you know, warmed up, let's see. You can hear also smell a little bit, but it's really only loud on the cold start. And I did some research on this, and it's because of a high flow cat downpipe. The car comes down on the RPM when the catalytic converter is actually warmed up. So because it's a high flow, it will stay at a higher RPM and have an extended warm up in order to warm up your catalytic converter. In addition to, you know, the engine needing to warm up and all that. So I would say a typical warm up takes around 3 to 4 minutes. It's actually quite long. So maybe with a cold start reduction, that would be shorter, but I'm not really too sure about that. I honestly like the louder startup, and I like warming up my car anyways. You know, getting through those few oil cycles. The minimum you guys should be doing it is 30 seconds. It takes an average of 30 seconds for the oil to completely run through. And your RPM will drop from 1500 to about 1000. And then after a few minutes, your RPMs will drop to below 1000, and that's when your car is officially and completely warmed up and ready to go. Let's put the hat cam behind the car and let's try to get a few sound clips of the exhaust, revving it up to 3000. Then later in the day, let's try to get some clips driving on the road. Damn, you guys heard that? It popped. And then as for my tuning settings, I actually kept it at a lower burble because I'm not really too into that. But really quick, let's get a clip inside the car revving up to 3K, and we're just in normal comfort. Got a small burble there. All right, let's get on the road and see if we can get some clips there. All right, guys, we're back in the whip. As you can see, it's nighttime now. It's 11 o'clock. We are homebody for the day, my fault. But I figured I'd put the camera on, go for a little ride on my way home, and show you guys what the cockpit of the car looks like at night. I'm running lilac ambient lighting, and like I said, the car is now stage 2. So let's just put the shift knob to the side, turn on the sport display so you guys can see. And it's good that this guy is here. Let's give it a little gas. Got some farts through the bridge. Not sure if you guys could hear the cold air intake at this speed. You can see on the sport display we're hitting around 300 horsepower, 300 torque when we do pulls like that. So like I said, the car is a lot more fun to drive, and honestly I still haven't found the time or the preparation to put my pedal down all the way to the floor. I'm not that type of driver to be flooring it and pushing my car that hard. The most I'll do is like 50 to 70% throttle, which is what I just did. And that kind of caps out at like 300-400 horsepower and torque when you're doing a launch like that. And as you guys saw, a brake boost or anything, I just went from 0. So car's a lot more fun to drive. And I would say at local speeds for local driving, I'm not pushing the car past 25% throttle anymore. To get from 0 to 30, it's very quick now. And I will say the first drive after you go stage 2 to getting in the car and getting used to your new throttle sensitivity, it's a really big change. But after a week of driving, you definitely get used to it. The car is a lot more responsive, and it shifts, as you could hear, is a lot clearer as well. The other thing that I'm looking to do or potentially doing is going on as XHP stage 2 or stage 3. I think a lot of people go stage 3 just because it's XHP and most people are on stage 3. But for my driving, I would honestly look to go stage 2. Yeah, I don't think anyone will ever find the time to fully use stage 3 if you're just driving like myself. If I were a little bit more aggressive, then maybe I would go stage 3. But you guys even just saw now, I don't push the sport button or anything. I just push my gear selector to the side and let it rip a little bit. The small pulls like that definitely make the driving experience a lot more fun for me, and I feel like the average driver would also feel the same way. Thank you guys so much for watching. Truly appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, leave it down in the comments. Check out my links below for all my socials as well as my recommended products. Thank you again. Peace.